What's up everyone, welcome to another sweaty episode today straight from Mallorca because I'm testing the brand new XeNTiS HighX SL 5-spoke wheels. Quite an exciting wheel set on paper. I'll be doing a bunch of climbing, a bunch of descending, a bunch of flat rides here, so to hopefully make up my mind about those wheels. So let's say enough talking, let's go! Alright, so we're off to a bit of a rough start in Mallorca because when I was putting together the bike yesterday, I noticed that for the handlebars, while I have these screws, it seems like during transport the other side has fallen out. And they're not in the bike box anymore, so I've turned this thing upside down like 3 times. So yeah, we're gonna go to Palma and hope that somebody is gonna be able to help me out with some of those bolts. Luckily there is a Seka dealer here, so we're gonna go there. Other than that, I got 2 other shops that have been recommended to me, so I'm gonna try my luck there. So yeah, there is the Seka store here, route, and they should have bolts, so hopefully this store is gonna give me some bolts now. Let's see. Alright, so we're here at Roots Workshop with Sebastian. Saved my ass today and we got the bolts. So, thank you very much for saving my ass, and the whole trip can now continue. So, let's go. Okay, I would say that's been enough riding for now. Let's try to find a quiet spot and talk about those wheels. All right, feeling like a proper German. Birkenstock in Mallorca. I got home from the ride because it was just too hot outside. It's still quite hot in the sun, even though it is 6 p.m. right now. So let's talk about those XeNTiS HighX SL wheels. First of all, this is not a cheap wheel set at slightly below 4,000 euros. Even though they're handmade in Austria, all those things, lots of R&D going into there. It is not a cheap wheel set, we can't hide that. So I was wondering if there is gonna be anything that's gonna be very exceptional and very obvious when it comes to comparing them to some of the other wheel sets that I've been riding so far. Because if you've been following this channel, you might be aware that I've been riding a lot of wheels in the meantime from different price categories, from very budget to more like the mid-tier or more the high-end but Asian direct-to-customer or direct-to-consumer brands. So still price-wise quite far away from these. I think the most expensive wheels that I've been riding so far have been pretty much half the price of these ones. So what can I say about them? I've been now riding here in Mallorca a couple of climbs, descents and flat rides. I've been doing a couple of Formentor, like the climb and descent over there. I've been doing Seka, of course, legendary one that had to be done with this bike as well, but especially with those wheels. Seka with the beautiful Seka spear and the XeNTiS HighX SL wheels, and I gotta say, yeah, it's not what I thought it would be, but more on that in a minute. Then I've been doing 2 flat rides, one from Poyenses, where I'm staying, down to Palma to get some tacos there, because there's a nice taco place down there. So I spontaneously now planned slightly different route with Komoot on the go. And here I am. Road ride. Yeah, that looks about right. Thanks, Komoot. And then also today one other flat ride to Sineu to have a nice coffee at Samola 13.
Each new blessing I receive, it keeps bringing me joy.
And I think those 4 rides already tell me a lot about those wheels. I am very happy to report back that they have quite some obvious, outstanding features that none of the other wheels that I've been riding so far have. But before we get into those points, I just want to make one thing very clear, and it is, even though XeNTiS was so kind to send me those wheels free of charge for the channel, I have no obligation to say anything positive about them. There's no contract, there's been no money exchanged, they're not seeing the video before. And also this YouTube thing, it is not my primary income. It is something that I'm doing out of passion. So I'm not trying to sell you anything here. If I would have to close down the YouTube channel tomorrow, it would be sad, but it would be totally fine. So I'm not doing this thing to be nice to brands and to get more partnerships in, or to sell you something or make any major cash out of this. So anything that I'm saying is my opinion. So I just want to make you very aware of that. So now let's get into those outstanding features. So first of all, I've been in Mallorca a couple of times now with a bunch of frames and a bunch of wheel sets. And these are actually the first wheels that I have to say side winds don't exist for them. It is funny. I mean, even though this is a 35mm profile, but I was also riding recently other 35mm brisk wheels. Here in Mallorca, they've been lighter than these ones. Amazing wheels, but still, when it was windy and like when there was strong wind from the sides, they still sometimes here and there, you just got a hit of wind through your handlebars. And with these, very, very impressive. Wind actually really doesn't have any impact on those. So you can hammer down any descent or go fast on flats, even if there's side wind. I don't know how they do it. I mean, I'm sure these are ridiculously smart people over at XeNTiS, and all those shapes of those spokes and of the rim itself, they have a function and it really seems to work. Like that was the very first thing that really stood out for me. The other thing is also that when you look at the design of the wheel, is that normally you have spokes sticking out from the rim to the hub, and the hub normally is quite wide. So if you look down from the top of the wheel, you see that the spokes are kind of like, they're fading out behind the tire. And here with this design, what's actually quite interesting is that the spokes are actually completely in German. In German, there is a word called Windschatten. In the wind shadow, all the spokes are completely in the wind shadow of the tire. Nothing is sticking out left and right. I would also think that this really contributes to how fast those feel, because even though they're only 35mm deep, they feel ridiculously fast on the flats and on the descents, but especially you notice it on the flats when you're putting power down. So very, very impressive. And I think this might be the ultimate wheel set. For now, I don't know anything that would come close to these, or I wouldn't see any reason, except that I have to test some other wheels as well, why I would not be riding those wheels on a daily basis. Because, first of all, they look great, which was the main reason why I wanted to get hold of them, to be honest, which is quite a whack reason why you would want these kind of wheels, but still, I think they look fantastic. Well, it's very polarizing, but I personally really like it. But very fast, no side winds. and there's more. So this being a full carbon design, I guess you could already expect that they're gonna be ridiculously stiff. And yeah, they are. But I've seen some other YouTubers reviewing some other 5 or 6 spoke wheels that have been more on the budget side. And the reports have been that they are quite flexy, left or right, when you push them down here. And especially when you get out of the saddle, that you can sometimes even get disc rub, and that you feel that they kind of have quite a bit of give here and there. This is absolutely not the case with these ones. When you put power down here, even compared to a regular carbon spoked wheel set, it really feels so stiff that no power is getting lost anywhere. Like every watt that you put down feels like it's going directly into the street. Just gotta tweak the exposure a little bit because the sun's going down. There we go. So this is something that is very, very obvious when you ride them. They are super, super punchy when you put power down. But then of course, it's not all great with those wheels. There's also a downside a little bit, which maybe comes down to the stiffness of them. Because if you're riding roads like here, which are most of the time perfect, freshly laid tarmac kind of vibe, no issues at all. Of course, once it gets a little rough, you feel the vibration coming through your handlebars as well. But I gotta say, I'm running those with TPU tubes, but I think if you would be riding those tubeless, you could drop the pressure quite a bit and you would have more comfort, especially when you're riding tires that are like 30 millimeters like these, which perfectly transition when it comes to tire width to rim. So I think that is actually a good width for this wheel set. So that is one option. And then also just looking at the portfolio of XeNTiS, they mainly do gravel and mountain bike wheels, where you have most of the time rough roads. Of course, you're going to be riding way wider tires there. You're going to be riding tubeless. So I think we definitely see that there are workarounds for making these wheels more comfortable, which I guess just means going tubeless. Tubeless is just not for me. I like it, and it's also not that harsh that I would say, oh, I'm not going to ride these because of that, or I'm going to switch these to tubeless because of that. So I think that maybe already tells you that it's actually not that bad, but it's something that I also just wanted to point out. So what can I say? I think for now, this is by far my most favorite wheel set that I've been riding so far. Like just the combination of the looks, the punchiness, crosswinds not existing. It's just a beauty. Weight is on point as well and very comparable, sitting basically somewhere in between of the wheel sets that I'm riding so far in comparison to like the ultra light ones and the most aero ones that I'm riding. They're fast, so if you can afford it, or if you know somebody that has a wheel set like this, definitely give them a try and try to experience it yourself. Because, as I mentioned, it's not all marketing fluff. It really, there is really an obvious, very easily noticeable difference to at least everything that I've ridden so far. And because of all that, now I'm very curious to put those wheels on one of my titanium bikes to see if that might be a dream team, kind of having these very punchy and very fast wheels, and then having a frame and a frame material that absorbs vibrations a little bit better. Like, is this going to be a match made in heaven? I don't know. I'll try to find out. If you're interested in that, maybe consider subscribing to this channel so you don't miss out on that episode. So with that, first of all, I want to say massive thank you to XeNTiS for making this happen. This has really been a pleasure, and I'm really looking forward to putting more kilometers on those wheels and taking it out on more travels and on more journeys, and see how they behave in various other setups and in combination with other frames as well. And second of all, I'll thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this little episode. If you did, consider hitting that like button. And as always, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.